Okay. tPackBuilder, Bereft Souls. The project's alive. Scary, I know. Um, Blocker Zoe and I were hard at work. We have made a fully functioning file explorer to facilitate the development of these little mod packs. Because like the different like content mods or files. So it's kind of neat, I think. You can open it and close it, whatever. It doesn't do much on its own. You would need to go into settings, mod config, right? tPackBuilder, and then turn on developer mode because it's off by default to gain access to it. But then you also need to bind the keybind to open it, which is the closing square brace by default. So you open it up. You have a whole list of mods you can select from. You know, lots of different mods here. Maybe I'm leaking something. I don't know. I work on a lot of stuff. You select it. It brings up this menu. You can even just deselect everything if you don't want a mod, I guess, but you need one. So pack loader test, right? There you go. You can see the directory you're currently in. I'm in the root, so it doesn't really show anything. So it's some dummy text. Could have made it a period too. Doesn't matter. You have your file view. You can create a new file. You know, let's make a new recipe mod. Call it mod1. Wow. Brilliant. You could rename it to create directories. So then you can navigate through them. Double clicking works for the default action. But the default action, it's also just the button on the right here. So for these ones, it's editing. For directories, it's opening, as you can see. And you can navigate upward through the same mechanisms. You can press this button up here to open the directory that you're currently in. So we can open up this. It's like, wow, beautiful. Delete that, it's gone. And also, if you delete the one you're currently in, it just sends you to the nearest one that you have access to. So in this case, it would have been the root directory, as you can see. You can add different files, you know, just picking on whatever's supported. Because the file explorer only shows supported file types, since you don't need anything else. You can edit the mod properties. So this has like the mod name, as you can see here, and the version and the author. So that we can add whatever. Boom. This will actually, you'll see, it refuses to update version because it needs to be a valid version. So if I close out of it, open up through sets. If I do this, then it saves properly. I don't know if you noticed that too. You can kind of select where to go in. There's some cool text input stuff as Zoe helped with. Um, the windowing system's cool as well. You know, you can click on a window and it brings you to the front. And there's multiple orders of layering. So all these three, there we go. And now there. So you see that? And it preserves the order that you go in. Pretty cool stuff. That's kind of all there is to it for the skeleton of the demonstration. I don't want to get too far into detail on all the different file types that we support, and then, you know, all the different settings you can apply. There's a lot. I could make a whole video on how the drop mod stuff works that I did back in, I think, January. Because it's pretty complicated in the implementation. I'm very proud of it. But there you go. Working file explorer. Lots of different directories. You know, we can even make directories from here. Maybe like whatever. And it updates. You could even make a new file from in here. I could do like, I don't know, test2 recipe mod JSON. And it appears with, you know, nothing by default because it would have been an empty file, but then I save it and it updates. There isn't really much in the way of error handling yet. Opted to not bother with that for now. There's a lot of little UX improvements to make in terms of how input works. Doesn't really matter too much for the demonstration. There's some cool stuff here though. Like you'll have the more complex ones, like the properties or like the lists. You can add multiple like this, and then you can delete them by pressing backspace. I think it's pretty cool. Each one has a different UI for itself. When you make a new mod, it has the default stuff to it, just the actual required parameters, and then you add all the different changes it supports. Recipe mods, of course, being the most complex due to how they function and what they're dealing with. Since each one is its own the granular unit, as opposed to say item mods where you have multiple fields in one thing and you can just add different ones. You can reorder the elements as well, which is very important because if I have like, if I want to do times 5 damage, then plus 5, the ordering matters a lot for that, obviously. So you'd want, like, to make a new one, and then you do plus 5 damage. And then it multiplies the base by 5, then adds 5, which is very different than if I had a plus 5 first, because then it would add 5 and then multiply that by 5. And I don't need to go over order of operations. I'm sure you are all familiar with basic arithmetic. Pretty cool stuff. Kind of all there is to talk about. I could do a follow-up little demonstration of all the different knobs you can twist and turn and pull, but it's pretty cool. There's also a little button up here that sends you out. Like, it saves your character and exits the world and then builds the mod. But that won't work right now for this demonstration because some of the data here is invalid, so it would just crash. But yeah, pretty cool.